So we're going to make gao, a syrup type thing from Gǒu so it's called Gǒu Qǐ Gāo. And so the first thing you need is any amount of Gǒu. It doesn't matter how much. We're going to open it up. And I'm going to make it in the Instant Pot because the old-fashioned way of making it just takes way too long, but you can get pretty good results, very good results from the Instant Pot. So this is the inner pot for the Instant Pot, and I'm just putting this Gǒu. There are only 2 ingredients, Gǒu and water. So the amount doesn't matter. I've got, Gǒu in here. And then you want to cover it with water. You hear my cat? You want to cover it with, good quality water that you've filtered or bought. And you don't want to use too much water because you want this to be really, really condensed. But of course, there has to be enough water so it can absorb some of the liquid and, then you can squeeze it out. Maybe I'll put the rest of this in. This Gǒu seems a little dry. Okay, and then if your Gǒu is already very moist, maybe you don't need to let it soak. But I think this Gǒu looks kind of dry, so I'm going to just pause the camera, let it soak for a while, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, it's soaked for a little while now. I don't know if you can see, probably not, but it's a little more puffy and moist. So now I'm gonna start cooking it in the Instant Pot. Put this out of the way. And here is my Instant Pot. Let's see if I can adjust this so you can see it a little better. Not very well. Anyway, so I'm putting the inner pot inside the Instant Pot. And I'm putting the lid on top. Okay. And I'm making sure that it's sealed. There's a vent that you have to seal for it to, cook, pressure cook. Okay. And now, because I have it facing you, even though you can't really see it, I need to look on the other side to set the thing. So let's see. Let's select. Sorry. I should have thought about this. Okay, I'm turning it towards me for a second, and I'm picking soup, and that has 20 minutes. I'm going to add more time. I'm actually going to give it 45 minutes there. Okay. And in a second, it's going to beep, which means it's starting. There, it's starting. So I'll be back here in about 45 minutes and we will do the next step then. Okay, I've adjusted the camera angle so you can see the Instant Pot controls a little better. Sorry, I'm not a big person who makes videos. We can see the countdown. We've almost got 45 minutes of pressure cooking. So in less than a minute, it's gonna go ding, and then the pressure cooking will be done. However, we can't open it up right away because if you're familiar with pressure cookers, they're under pressure, and if you try to open it up, the steam can really come out and releasing the pressure. Like there's a valve here, and if I turn the valve right away, it will spray up like a geyser. Some things won't spray, but believe me, I know from Gǒu making Gǒu Gāo, it will. I've never tried to release the pressure instantly. I've done so like in class after, a short period of time, because in class you have limited time. But at home when you're doing this, you can wait there it's done. You can wait. So we're going to wait for at least 30 minutes before we release the pressure. If you could just walk off and leave it indefinitely and come back an hour later and the pressure will have released itself. But, maybe after a half hour, I'll come back to do it. So now it has a count up clock, and the timer will tell me how long it's been not cooking. So yeah, we're going to give it about 30 minutes of natural pressure release is what it's called, and then we'll release the remaining pressure and start taking it out and straining it. I'm just kind of waiting for it to turn to 1 so you can see how it is a count up clock for after the cooking's done. But I'm sure you could imagine. So I'll be back in 30 minutes. Okay, so it's at 29 minutes. We're gonna release the pressure. We're gonna try and do it a little gradually, because if I just like flip it open, it still could shoot up and excuse me, make quite a mess to have to clean up. So let's see what's gonna happen. So it's letting off pressure, but nothing's shooting up. And the little valve fell down. I don't know if you heard that little click, but there's like a thing that sticks up when there's pressure, and then when the pressure is released, it finally falls down. So now it's safe to open this, but there's still going to be a lot of steam coming out. Okay. And get that liquid back in. Okay, so it's very hot. And what I'm going to do is get it out of the Instant Pot, the inner pot. And then I'm going to put the Instant Pot someplace else. Okay. Okay, so the next thing is going to be, the next thing is going to be to strain it. So I have a glass bowl, and in it is a strainer, which I put, this is actually, some time ago, I ordered some cotton handkerchiefs, just like my father used to have when I was a kid. He'd always have one in his pocket. And I found that they're really good for straining herbs. They're like a nice, fine weave, and they're relatively strong. And so I've been using them not to blow my nose, but to strain herbs. They work pretty good. But look for 100% cotton, because you don't really want synthetics. So, wonder if I can make this a little higher for you. Let me grab a book. Let's see. There. Now you can see. So this is still extremely hot, so I'm going to have to pour carefully. Plus, I don't want to get it all over, my book. I use clothespins to hold the cloth down. It's better than using my hands, and it's better than the cloth falling inside. So let's try to do this. And there, yeah, you can see. Okay. Let's let some of that go through. So right now, while it's hot, it's very liquid. but it seems that gochujang must have some pectin in it. Pectin is this natural thing in fruit that makes it gel, like apples have pectin, and so you can make jelly with it. And if you're trying to make jelly and the fruit doesn't have pectin in it, you need to like add some. So gochujang will thicken up on its own as it cools. Okay, let's pour a little bit more through. Most syrups you have to add honey and cook it down, or molasses or something like that, and cook it down to make it thick. But this should thicken on its own as it cools. In class, I often get a larger bowl for the outside and then put ice water in the larger bowl, and that helps it to cool faster. But we're not in a hurry here today, so it can just cool at its own speed and become jelly-like. Okay, let's try and get the last bit. Okay. Oops, there's still a couple more. Yeah. There you go. So eventually I'm going to squeeze this out, but it's kind of hot right now. I do have, this works really well to prevent my hands from burning, but there's no hurry. I can wait a little while before I strain it further. So I'll come back when it's a little bit cooler and we'll finish it up then. Okay, here we are. It's still pretty hot, but I'm kind of impatient sometimes, so I'm going to take off the clips, and since it's so hot, I'm going to put on the glove. Let's gather this all together. So you just have to decide how fussy you want to be, how much you want to get out, when you get tired of squeezing. If you had a press, that would be a good thing, but they're kind of expensive and take up a lot of space. So hand pressing. You want to make sure your cloth is strong enough that it won't burst when you press it. But you don't want to waste any of this. So perhaps I used a little too much water. We'll see how this thickens up. But as it cools, it should thicken. Sorry, hope this isn't too boring. But this is how things work. Okay, I might do a little more squeezing off camera, but that's enough of this for now. Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah, it is getting some jelly-like stuff. I don't know if you can see. Probably you can't see. Yeah. So we'll come back one last time when it gets thicker, and we'll also like put it in a container then. But that's the basic process. This will just thicken up as it cools. Okay, it's probably better to pour it into jars before it gets too thick. So I've been letting it cool here, covered so that my cat doesn't get in it, or if there are any bugs, which I don't think there are, but you know. Anyway, this, by the way, is the mash. This is, you know, what I squeezed out. It's, you know, thick and mushy. You could probably use it in something like banana bread, but instead of bananas, use that, or whatever. You know, you could compost it. So anyway, that's what that part is like. Let me put it over here. Okay. Hopefully I can do this without making too much of a mess. So it's still warm, but not hot. So I kind of set up a thing so if I spill, hopefully it'll go into a container. Okay, so I've got, like, you know, a funnel and a few glass jars. And I'm a messy person, so I'm like a little worried about this. Let's see how I can do. It all fit in the one jar. Okay. So I'm gonna let it cool the rest of the way. If you wait until it's really like thickened, then when you pour it in, it's got a weird texture. I don't know, not weird, but you know, instead of being like smooth in there, there might be air bubbles and stuff like that. So I just wanted to pour it now, and then when it's 100% cool, I'll turn this on one more time and I'll, you know, show you what it looks like at that point. Okay? See you. Do you want to taste the Gǒu Qǐ Gāo? Would you like some of this? Don't think so. Well, so here we are. It's pretty much room temperature now. The whole process took me, I don't know, maybe 3 hours total, but the work time was maybe a half hour. I don't know. We'll see how long this video is in the end, because the video shows all the time I had to work and pay attention to it. So it's not that much effort when you do it with the Instant Pot. If you do it on the stovetop, it's really a pain. You're supposed to boil it 3 times and, you know, strain it 3 times and mix, you know, all the liquids together, and it's much more difficult, but you can get a very concentrated, sorry, my cat wants attention. You can get a very concentrated, you know, syrup using the Instant Pot. So let's see how this turned out. It may still get a little thicker with time and with being even colder in the refrigerator. Let's see. It is, you know, it might be hard for you to see, but it's pretty jelly-like. It's not as thick as jelly that you might, you know, use, but it's pretty thick. And I think it will get thicker. So in any case, this is like very concentrated gochujang liquid. It's not going to be super sweet. And in fact, one time I made it, it was so bitter. Usually it's only just a little bitter and mostly sweet, but one time it was so bitter. But if you added a little honey to it, it tasted okay. So here we go. It always tastes a little smoky to me, and it's sweet and bitter, I would say, as far as, you know, the 5 flavors go. then you could use it in, you could mix it with your oatmeal, you could use it in making a dessert and cooking and like making a sauce out of it. So yeah, I think a cat wants to inspect. This is chibo. In any case, then it's highly concentrated, so you only would eat like a spoonful at a time, once a day, twice a day. You could mix in a little hot water, anything like that. And so that's how you make Gǒu Qǐ Gāo. It, nourishes the eyes, it nourishes, it's like... Sorry, it's a nourishing life thing. I think I better stop recording now. Yeah. Okay.